Yeah. So what do I mean by that? When I say the problem of the world is an adult and the solution to the problem is being a child. So if you look at adults, that's where you get adulteration from. That's where you get adultery from, right? But it's in childhood you have innocence. It's in childhood you have purity. It's in childhood you have that unadulterated nature of being a human being and being a good person, right? And really, that's the solution to the world. So whoever a child turns out to be, because when a child is born, that child is a crystal pure water,
Hmm.
right? And that child gets contaminated most times by the adults or handlers in their lives.
Hmm.
Because just like John Locke said, that when a child is born, he is like tabula rasa. His mind is actually a blank slate. So
Hmm.
he doesn't actually have an idea of who he is. He doesn't have beliefs. He doesn't have values. He doesn't have memories. He hasn't taken any decision for himself. But you know what? As he begins to grow and develop, the adult in their life, the handlers, begins to teach them, based on their own prism and view
Hmm.
of life. The handlers begins to install, what values they should embrace. The
Hmm.
handlers begins to install what beliefs they should have. The handlers begin to install the decision, begin to even make decisions for them,
Hmm.
right? Because when we were born, for instance, you didn't have a decision
Of
of
course.
your religion. You didn't have a decision of the school you went to. You didn't even have a decision of the
The
name you were
name,
given,
yeah.
right? So all of that was chosen for you by the adults in your life,
Hmm.
right? And many times as you grow up, without even knowing, those things that were chosen for you by the adults in your life begins to form and crystallize into who you then become. That's why I tell
Hmm.
people many times when they say, this is who I am, I ask them, are you sure it's who you are or who you have become? Because for
Hmm.
a lot of people, it is not who they are. What they are dispensed is not who they are, it's who they have
They've
become
become.
based on the handlers in their life. So for instance, somebody who is an angry person can say, that's who I am. I'm
I get
naturally
angry, yeah.
very
So
angry.
easily.
Yeah, or this is how we talk in our house, in our family. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why you talk that way, because that's how you talk in your house.
Hmm.
So you learned by association, right? And that's why you talk that way. That's why you get angry so easily. So that's not who you are. It's actually who you've become, because there's no way you'd have been created and born as an angry person. There's no way you'd have
Hmm.
been created and born with those habits and those issues and weaknesses that you have. Those things were most likely learned as you grew up by the association you had with handlers in your life.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this is so deep. So we are going to open the phone line very soon. But before that, let's talk about in the few minutes modeling child protection and supervision. What do you think parents should do and they are not doing, and what do you think they are doing but they are not really putting much effort to implement it in our present society?
Okay, what parents are not doing and what they should do in terms of child protection. I think that a lot of parents need to understand their primary responsibilities. They need to understand that it's not by force to have a child. I know that a lot
Mm.
of people have children for societal reasons.
Reasons, yeah.
Okay,
Maybe someone to bear their
exactly,
names,
someone to bear their name, someone to carry on their
their
genealogy,
genealogy, yeah.
someone to call them daddy and call them
Mm.
mommy. That's really the reason a lot of people have
And it's
children.
a selfish
It's a
reason.
selfish reason,
Yeah.
yeah. So anything you do as an adult and as a parent that is not in the interest of the child is selfish,
Hmm.
and actually exposes that child to all sorts of vulnerability. It is
Hmm.
why even when parents get divorced or get separated, they bring their children into that mess,
Hmm.
because the focus of every divorced parent or every divorced couple should actually be co-parenting that child, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So a lot of parents don't look at that. So we need to understand that when you have a responsibility to your child as soon as that child comes into this world. The child didn't beg to come here.
Of
So
course.
immediately the child comes here, you must do everything in your power to protect them and to provide everything that would enable them to grow up to become responsible adults in the society.
Hmm.
Yes, so the key word here is being responsible adults in the society. If at the end of the day, in from between 1 and 18, your child doesn't end up to become a responsible adult of the society, then you have failed as a parent. You haven't done your
Mm.
job well as a parent. So I think parents need to first of all realize what is in front of them, and then begin to equip themselves with the necessary knowledge and wherewithal, the necessary know-how of
Mm.
how to actually parent, how to actually protect, their children. And a lot of parents are not very privy to these things. They just feel
Mm.
like, okay, if who taught my parents, how to parent me?
Yeah.
Who taught them? They just knew how to parent me. But what I ask is, who if you ask that question, really, we would actually drive at something very, very interesting. Because
Interesting.
who
Yeah.
asked, who taught your parents about parenting? Oh, their parents. Who
Mm.
taught their parents' parents? Who taught their parents' parents? Their parents' parents' parents? Who taught their parents' parents'
And
parents? Their
you
parents'
you
parents'
come
parents?
to observe that an error has finally come through. Yeah.
Exactly. You realize that you're actually running
Hmm.
your family and parenting your children with the
Hmm.
knowledge of the Stone Age man. The man
Hmm.
who lived in the 5th century, who didn't have access to radio, to TV, to social media, to books, to internet, to ChatGPT, to Google, to seminars, to trainings, to all of that. That's the knowledge of the person you're running through the 1st century.
Hmm.
And things have evolved, things have changed, right? So why we must keep principles, methodologies must keep evolving. Because I tell people,
Hmm.
when it comes to principles, you must be as solid as the rock, but when it comes to methods, you must be as flexible as the
Flexible.
waves.
Yeah.
It's very important because things have evolved over time. And if you are not up to date as to really the things, for instance, a simple thing is just to see how technology has played a big role, for instance, in parenting and in protecting children right now.
Hmm.
Because some 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there is nothing like internet bullying. There's
Yeah.
nothing like that really. Bullying had to be physical.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we have internet bullying. Right now we have all sorts on
Cyber
on the
stalking.
internet.
Yeah.
Cyber bullying,
Yeah.
internet stalking,
Sextortion. Yeah.
sextortion, all of
Hmm.
those things are happening right now that didn't used to happen before now. And if you're not privy to it, you will just be taken unawares, and your children would be victims of
Hmm.